This program sets out ways in which it is possible to bring change to the workplace, here and now. The task is to make the organization more error-resistant. In some instances, there may be acute vulnerabilities where even a minor error can produce irrecoverable results. While overall, our position might look like this, with the ability to resist some kinds of error, but with the system becoming easily overloaded. The aim is to move to this position, where the system robustly resists error and is able to recover quickly. All over the world of aviation, there is an increasing consciousness of the need to address the problem of human error.
Authorities everywhere are concentrating on this issue, and industry must respond. ICAO have recently issued requirements for the examination of maintenance engineers on the subject of human performance and limitations. This will apply to all contracting states.
In Europe, new JAR, Joint Aviation Requirements, set out a broadly based syllabus of human factors material. UK operators have set up an action group which brings the whole industry together with the aim of establishing standards that integrate error management into mainstream management. Around the world, a number of airlines have begun important error management initiatives, and you may already be doing something similar. Our aim here is to mobilize both existing measures and new ones into HERO, a human error reduction operation. Some items will be new. Others you may already use. None of them are expensive in cash terms, but all of them require a commitment to make them work. Unless this commitment exists right across the organization, it is best not to begin.
In the future, I would advise any program that needs to address the middle management first before you bring it to the shop floor, because our experience in several U.S. carriers is the programs are widely accepted on the shop floor, and they catch hold instantly, and if you're not prepared to deal with that energy, you'll lose it.
HERO is not a technique or a gimmick. It's what it says it is, an operation. A set of practical activities configured to match local problems and local resources. The one certain thing is that the HERO you construct will not be identical to anyone else's. Life isn't like that. Indeed, you may even choose another name. The important thing is for the principles to be firmly established and clearly communicated.
If I could wave a magic wand and change anything within our maintenance departments today, I would change the communications and the interplay between all the departments. Engineering must be closer to the tasks that are accomplished. Not just the mechanic, I'm talking about true aerospace engineering. Additionally, the planning department needs to be intricately involved with the process. The people who create our task documents must be intimately familiar with not only the work that's done, the people who are accomplishing it. They need to be closer to the product.
HERO is good business for many reasons, not least because it can help gain benefits from abilities which people possess, but which are not at present called upon. From the individual's point of view, HERO can provide the satisfaction of new opportunities to use personal judgment and informed imagination. From another perspective, there's an increased return on the company's investment in human resources. Error management is not about making bad people good. Anybody who is reckless has no place in aircraft engineering. It's about helping make good people excellent. That's of crucial importance, because history shows that some of the industry's worst mistakes have been made by good people with decades of unblemished service. In this series, we have observed 3 essential facts of life. That human error is everywhere. So, to be effective, any error management program must address the issue at every level of the business. And as we have seen, long-term change is impossible without cultural change. HERO addresses these facts by helping do 3 things: harness what we have, identify what we need, do what we should. In important ways, a hero is nothing extraordinary. Managing human error is no different from managing anything else. And like any other important business activity, error management needs tools especially designed to do the job. Hero begins by harnessing what we have. It calls on managers and staff to collaborate in checking out existing controls. How many people appreciate that procedures are often the result of a large amount of work on failure analysis done at design stage? Error management cannot hope to succeed if operating procedures are not being followed, or if signing for work has become a formality rather than a real measure of control. Hero seeks to find out if such things are happening, and if they are, to ask why and what needs to be done to change the situation. The next step is identifying what we need to know. Standing here, now, today, we need to be able to see clearly in two directions, back into the past and forward into the future. In our past, there are free lessons available to us. Free because we've already paid for them through past errors and near misses. But unless we ferret out the underlying causes of what has happened to us, these lessons will be anything but free. We will pay the price of them time and time again. The third phase of Hero is doing what we should. At the heart of this is a simple two-part discipline. Plan what you do what you plan. Capturing data alone is not enough. We need to learn from it. It's only by understanding the details of past patterns of error that we can build a sound, workable basis for managing similar kinds of error in the future. But lessons from the past have one big drawback. You have to have failures before you can learn from them. That's why we need to look into the future, so that we can identify what would otherwise be invisible. The conditions that will eventually catch out even the most experienced of us. One way of doing this is to imagine that defenses did not exist. So, for example, a modification would go straight to the aircraft. This allows us to look at actual defenses, like design approval, planning, work packs, training and sign-off procedures with a new perspective. We've seen how even the best of defenses can fail. So we need to get inside each of them to ensure that they are resistant to foreseeable error. Doing this means taking on board observations based on experience and informed imagination from people with safety-critical responsibilities wherever they may work. With past lessons learnt and the likely causes of future error identified, it's possible to act decisively to remove error-provoking conditions ahead of time. This knowledge of the past and of the future can be fed back into the system. Different companies will have different ways of achieving this. The important thing is that a thought-through, systematic approach is followed. Let's pause for a moment and sum up. Hero means learning from the past, seeing into the future, acting to remove the causes of error, knowing that what is supposed to be happening is really happening. Hero is good business. It provides the basis for achieving lower costs and a higher level of safety. In return, a hero makes one key demand: the will to make it work. The commitment of senior management must be clearly communicated and the necessary resources made available. Such an approach makes a direct appeal to common sense and common justice. A successful hero operates at every level, from toolbox to boardroom. Let's look at the individual. A pattern of error by different people doing the same job demonstrates the need for action to change the conditions which provoke the problem. In some instances of persistent error, a simple paper-based error reduction kit, ERC for short, can be devised. ERC is about reinforcing procedures. It helps address forgetfulness, the cause of much simple persistent error. It focuses the user's thinking on ways in which visible, practical reminders about procedures would make a big difference. The team need a means of getting what they have gained by experience into the system, so that procedures are kept in touch with reality. The operating culture needs to encourage people to draw attention to potential causes of future error. Two-way communication between people doing the job according to daily schedules and those working to much longer timescales is all important, creating an awareness of issues which cross lines of time and working location. Discussion groups are needed to open up a multidisciplinary debate and an exchange of information to access the hard-won experience of people working in safety-critical disciplines. Unless this is done, new entrants will tend to repeat old errors. Training follows, beginning with the materials supplied with this series. Successful training is a living process, changing and developing as error management training needs specific to local issues are identified. In parallel with training and awareness groups, there must be a review of tasks with an immediate impact on safety. This may mean fresh thinking. Is the technical library up to date? Is the information easily accessible? Do normal working practices match procedures? Is there an appreciation of the increased likelihood of error in abnormal or unscheduled maintenance tasks? How real are the rules? Could we still function to schedule if everyone went by the book? If not, why not? Good intentions can bring their own problems. An accumulation of small, well-intended modifications can combine to make the total procedure for doing a job impracticable. A radical review of procedures may be needed, or a redesign may be required. Sometimes the most important questions are the most basic. Are procedures being observed? Unless these questions are examined systematically, hidden flaws will remain undetected. In time, they will cause trouble, perhaps serious trouble. A single example shows what can happen. An aircraft suffered a structural breakup and everyone on board was killed because the leading edge of a stabilizer was left partially unsecured during scheduled maintenance. The inquiry found that the lack of compliance with the General Maintenance Manual led to the return of an unairworthy airplane to scheduled passenger service. Multiple flaws in defences resulted in catastrophe. The report refers to substandard practices, procedures and oversights. Those who began the job did not have the appropriate work cards, so they could record work not completed at the end of the shift. Further non-communication and a failure to fill out the correct form at the following shift handover resulted in the error going undetected. Inspection was compromised because the inspector was himself directly involved in doing the job, helping out colleagues by removing the stabilizer screws. Throughout the whole affair, the same errors occurred time and again. Non-adherence to procedures, poor communication, and absent documentation. All this was against the background of a substantial error-provoking condition. The screws were missing from the top side of the stabilizer, some 20 feet from the ground, and were not visible without high-level access equipment. Nothing dramatic happened in the hangar. It was simple, basic errors that combined to produce a deadly effect. Hero principles and practice, understood and operated by the individual and the team, can bring critically important changes to the workplace. A way of harnessing what we have, identifying what we need, and doing what we should. In the next program, we're going to look at the future to see the possibilities Hero offers for long-term change throughout the organization.